In the year 2245, humanity's frontier had stretched beyond the solar cradle of Earth, marking its presence across galaxies and nebulae. The human spirit, characterized by an insatiable curiosity and boundless empathy, thrived in the cosmos, making humans valuable allies and feared adversaries in interstellar politics. Captain Elena Myrov stood at the helm of the starship Resolute, a vessel bearing the marks of numerous battles and diplomatic ventures. As part of the Earth interstellar fleet, her missions varied, but today's routine patrol near the outer rim was uneventful until a technician, ensconced within the maze of monitoring equipment, flagged an anomaly. "Captain, we're picking up a signal," reported Lieutenant Harrow, his voice a mix of excitement and concern. "It's weak, but it's definitely a distress call." His fingers danced over the console, enhancing the signal's clarity. Elena approached, her gaze fixed on the screen displaying the signal's origin. "Can you identify the language or encryption?" she inquired, her mind racing through possibilities. "It's old, ancient, actually. Similar to dialects used by extinct civilizations in the Cygnus sector. But it's coming from Meloria," Harrow replied, puzzled. The Loria was marked on star maps as a barren planet, its atmosphere hostile, its lands uninhabited. The Loria? That doesn't make sense. "Are you sure?" Elena questioned, skepticism lacing her tone. She knew the galaxy held secrets, but a distress call from a supposedly dead planet was abnormal. Harrow nodded, adjusting the equipment to triangulate the signal more precisely. "I'm positive, Captain. It's from Meloria. And it's a plea for help, a structured, repeated message. This isn't random or natural. It's a call." The bridge of the Resolute buzzed with a newfound tension. Crew members exchanged glances, the thrill of the unknown mingling with the weight of responsibility. Elena felt the shift in the air, the electric charge of a new mission taking form. Set a course for the Loria, Elena decided, her command cutting through the murmurs of her crew. Prepare for a full range of contingencies. Communications, keep trying to decrypt the message further. I want to know what we're walking into. As the Resolute altered its path, slicing through the star-speckled darkness towards the Loria, Elena pondered the decision. Her crew was a tapestry of humanity and allied species, each member drawn from worlds scattered across the universe. Their unity and diversity made them strong, adaptable. The journey to the Loria took hours, each minute amplifying the mystery. Harrow, with the aid of Scylla, a cryptolinguist from the aquatic planet of Nereda, managed to parse more of the message. The language was indeed ancient, its structure complex and flowing, indicative of a sophisticated sender. "It's a standard distress call, Captain," Scylla reported. "They're repeating a request for assistance against some external threat. The specifics aren't clear, but there's urgency in the repetition." Elena stood before her crew, gathered in the briefing room, their faces a mosaic of concern and resolve. "We may be walking into a conflict, or a trap," she stated, her voice firm. "But someone out there is calling for help. Our duty as members of the Earth interstellar fleet, and as beings capable of empathy and aid, is to respond." The Resolute braved onward, cutting through hyperspace, its destination now illuminated by the coordinates of the distress call. As they approached the Loria, the planet loomed large and enigmatic, its surface shrouded in swirling storms of dust and gas, the atmosphere a swirling maelstrom. "Prepare for orbital insertion," Elena commanded, her eyes fixed on the view screen, where the Loria waited, its secrets hidden beneath a veil of turbulence. "We're here to answer a call for help. Let's find out who is calling, and why." As the starship Resolute settled into orbit around the Loria, the planet revealed little from space, its secrets cloaked under thick clouds of swirling dust and violent storms. The atmosphere, toxic to most known life forms, sparked an array of colors against the void, hinting at chemical compositions unknown and untapped. It was a hostile world, supposedly barren and deserted, yet somewhere below, a beacon had cried out for help. Captain Elena Myrov convened her senior officers in the Resolute's strategic room, a stark area designed for discussions of tactical and diplomatic importance. The air was thick with anticipation, each member of her team acutely aware of the stakes involved. We have the technology to descend and protect ourselves from the environment, but our information about what's down there is dangerously sparse, Elena started, her eyes scanning the room. I want options, any viable means to establish contact with the source of that distress call. Chief Engineer Liu spoke up, his voice steady despite the uncertainty. We could deploy probes to penetrate the atmosphere and scout for safe landing zones near the signal's origin. They're equipped with sensors capable of detecting life forms, even under these extreme conditions. Make it so, Elena responded promptly. Deploy the probes. I want a full environmental analysis. Meanwhile, Sila, continue working on the message. Any additional information could be crucial. The deployment of the probes marked the beginning of an intense waiting period. As the small, unmanned vehicles descended through the turbulent atmosphere, the crew of the Resolute monitored their progress closely. Each probe transmitted data back to the ship, painting a picture of a planet that was anything but lifeless. Surprisingly, the probes detected pockets of stable environments and, even more shockingly, signs of sophisticated technology, structures that were clearly designed and built by intelligent beings. The revelation rippled through the ship, a mixture of excitement and concern stirring among the crew. Captain, one of the probes has made contact with an urban area, reported Lieutenant Harrow, his eyes wide in disbelief. There are signs of civilization, buildings, roads, and... I think they're Thalorians. The view screen flickered to life, showing images of a cityscape unlike any they had seen before. Structures resembled corals and shells, organically integrated into the landscape, with creatures moving between them. These beings were slender, with translucent skin that shimmered with the hues of the ocean. They appeared gentle, their movements graceful and deliberate. Elena, look at this, Sila called out, pulling up another transmission on a side screen. The language, it's Thalorian. They're not extinct, they've been alive and thriving here all along. And they need our help. The captain nodded, absorbing the news with a mix of awe and responsibility. Prepare a landing team. We're going down there. I want to establish a dialogue with the Thalorians. If they're calling for help, we need to understand why. The descent to the Loria was fraught with danger. The storms tested the Resolute shuttles and crew, but skill and determination brought them through. They landed on the outskirts of the Thalorian city, welcomed not with hostility but with open arms, a sign of the Thalorians' desperation. A group of Thalorians, led by an elder named Meili, greeted them. Her voice was melodious, her words imbued with relief. We did not believe anyone would hear us, she expressed through a device translating her speech. Our world has been hidden by choice, shielded from the cosmos to protect our people. But now, we face extinction from invaders who crave our resources. We are not warriors, we are healers and scholars. Your arrival brings us hope. Captain Myrov stepped forward, extending her hand in peace. We are here to help, Meili. Tell us about these invaders, and let's see how we can assist. Under the bioluminescent glow of Thaloria's twin moons, Meili, the Thalorian elder, led Captain Elena Myrov and her crew through the sprawling city of Velas, a marvel of organic architecture that blended seamlessly with the natural environment. The city's structures were crafted from biogenic materials, giving the impression of a living, breathing community. As they walked, Meili explained the dire circumstances that had compelled her people to break their long-standing isolation. Our assailants, the Voraks, are a nomadic species known for their ruthlessness in exploiting planets, Meili began, her voice tinged with sorrow. They first appeared in our skies a decade ago, and we hoped our atmospheric anomalies would deter them. It did not. They adapted, and they overcame. They seek our planet's unique resources, minerals capable of powering advanced biotechnologies. Elena listened intently, the weight of the Thalorians' plight evident in her furrowed brow. We need to form a plan that not only drives them away but ensures they don't return, she stated decisively. Back aboard the Resolute, Elena initiated a galaxy-wide broadcast, detailing the situation on the Loria and calling for assistance. The message resonated across various channels and networks, reaching allies within the Human Federation and beyond. The response was immediate and robust. driven by a common recognition of the threat posed by the Vorax and a shared commitment to aiding a peaceful civilization under siege. Within days, a diverse coalition of species began to converge on Meloria. Ships bearing flags from multiple galaxies arrived, each bringing unique capabilities and resources. The Asari sent diplomats skilled in negotiation and conflict resolution, hoping to find a peaceful solution. The Zalarians, known for their strategic military prowess, offered their elite commando units. Even the reclusive Tarquin sent support in the form of advanced cloaking technology. On Thaloria's surface, a temporary command center was established in the Loss, protected by both Thalorian and human technological innovations. Here, strategies were forged and alliances cemented. Captain Myrov, with the advice of her diverse council, organized the coalition forces into specialized units. Each group focused on a different aspect of the conflict, from sabotage and guerrilla tactics to large-scale engagements designed to cripple the Vorax supply lines. The Resolute served as the command hub in orbit, coordinating the movements of the coalition fleet and gathering intelligence. Harrow, now promoted to head of communications, maintained a steady flow of data between the surface and the fleet. On the ground, training camps were set up where Thalorian civilians were taught basic self-defense and emergency response tactics by human and Zalarian trainers. The Thalorians, though pacifists by nature, embraced the training with quiet determination, understanding the necessity of defending their home. As the coalition grew in strength and number, a sense of optimism began to permeate the ranks. The diverse nature of the assembly, once considered a potential weakness, proved to be their greatest strength. Ideas and tactics were shared freely, creating a melting pot of strategies that were adapted to fit the unique challenges of the campaign. In one notable instance, a Tarquin engineer and a human scientist collaborated to adapt the cloaking technology, making it possible to hide entire squadrons of fighters from Vorax sensors. This innovation allowed the coalition to execute several successful surprise attacks, significantly weakening Vorax positions around major resource nodes. Meanwhile, Scylla and a team of cryptolinguists worked tirelessly to intercept and decode Vorax communications. Their efforts paid off when they cracked the encryption, revealing valuable insights into Vorax troop movements and supply chains. This intelligence was crucial in planning the upcoming major offensive that aimed to turn the tide of the war. As Thaloria's twin suns dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the battle-scarred landscapes, the coalition forces prepared for what would be the pivotal confrontation in their campaign against the Vorax. Under the cloak of night, the diverse assembly of allied species readied their positions, the tension palpable in the air. Captain Elena Myrov stood at the command center, her gaze fixed on the large holographic map displaying troop movements and strategic points. Around her, representatives from each faction of the coalition offered their insights and confirmed their readiness. The plan was audacious, a simultaneous multi-front assault designed to exploit the Vorax's current disarray from the surprise attacks and cripple their operational capabilities on Meloria. The first phase involved a diversionary tactic executed by the Zalarian commandos, known for their stealth and combat prowess. They would strike key Vorax outposts along the eastern ridge, drawing the enemy's attention and forces away from their central command hub. Meanwhile, Asari diplomats continued their attempts to negotiate with any Vorax willing to consider withdrawal, providing an avenue for de-escalation if possible. At the same time, specialized units equipped with the newly developed cloaking devices moved into position around the main Vorax supply depots. Their mission was critical, to cut off the enemy's access to the biotechnological resources they had been extracting, which were essential for their war machinery. This task was spearheaded by a mixed team of human and Tarquin engineers, their collaborative efforts over the past weeks having resulted in a robust application of stealth technology. Back on the Resolute, Lieutenant Harrow monitored communications, keeping the channels clear and secure while providing real-time updates to the ground forces. His team worked tirelessly, intercepting Vorax transmissions and feeding crucial intelligence to the coalition commanders. On the ground, Captain Myrov donned her battle armor, preparing to join her troops. She addressed her team with a calm yet firm tone. "Today, we stand not just for the Loria, but for all who believe in our shared principles of freedom and solidarity." Let's show the Vorax that their tyranny ends here. As the operation commenced, the coordinated attacks unfolded with precision. The Zolarian forces engaged the Vorax with such ferocity and surprise that the enemy was forced to redirect their main battalions, leaving their central hub less defended. This allowed the cloak units to move in on the supply depots undetected. Explosions lit up the night sky as the depots were sabotaged, sending shockwaves through the Vorax lines. The loss of resources was a critical blow, visibly sapping the morale of the Vorax fighters as they scrambled to understand the extent of the coalition's infiltration. At the central command hub, Captain Myrov led a direct assault, her team bolstered by Thalorian warriors who, despite their peaceful nature, fought with a fierce determination to protect their home. They breached the command center, engaging in intense close-quarters combat. The fighting was brutal, but the coalition's training and superior tactics gradually turned the tide. Throughout the night, the battle raged, the sounds of conflict echoing across the valleys and ridges of Valoria. By dawn, the Vorax forces were in disarray, their command structure in ruins and their ability to sustain their occupation severely compromised. As the suns rose, casting a new light over Valoria, it became clear that the coalition had achieved a significant victory. The remaining Vorax, realizing the futility of further resistance, began to retreat, their ships lifting off from Thalorian soil and disappearing into the cold expanse of space. As the first light of Thaloria's twin suns washed over the planet, the landscape bore the scars of the night's fierce battle. The air was thick with the smell of burnt metal and ionized energy, remnants of the conflict that had unfolded. However, amid the destruction, there was a palpable sense of relief and renewal. The Vorax, a lingering shadow over Valoria for a decade, had finally been driven away, and the planet breathed a sigh of freedom. Captain Elena Myrov stood on the battered grounds outside the former Vorax command hub, now reclaimed by Thalorian forces. Around her, coalition troops and Thalorian citizens were beginning the work of recovery. Medical teams from various species worked side by side, tending to the wounded, while engineers assessed the damage and planned the reconstruction of key infrastructures. Elena walked among her troops and the Thalorians, offering words of gratitude and encouragement. The battle might have ended, but the journey towards a lasting peace was just beginning. "We've shown what we can achieve when we stand together," she told them. "Now, we must build on this foundation, ensure the safety of Valoria, and prevent any future threats." In the heart of the loss, a grand assembly was organized, attended by leaders and representatives of the coalition forces, along with Thalorian elders and citizens. The assembly was held in the Great Conclave Hall, a stunning structure of living coral that resonated with the collective heartbeat of the planet. Here, the future of Valoria was to be charted. Elder Melee addressed the gathering, her voice echoing softly in the vast chamber. "You came to us as allies and stood by us as protectors," she said. "For your bravery and sacrifice, we are eternally grateful. Today marks not just a victory in battle but the beginning of a new era for Valoria." Melee proposed a series of treaties and pacts, inviting the coalition to help establish a permanent defense system for Valoria and integrate the planet into interstellar trade routes and diplomatic circles. The Thalorians, once reclusive, were ready to take their place in the galaxy's communal tapestry. Captain Myrov spoke on behalf of the coalition, affirming their commitment to Thaloria's future. "We will help you build your defenses and support your steps into the wider galaxy," she declared. "The bonds formed in battle are the strongest, and we will not forget our fellowship forged in the fires of conflict." The negotiations were marked by a spirit of collaboration. Technological exchanges were agreed upon, with human and Thalorian scientists set to work together on advancing both planetary defense and environmental restoration. Cultural exchanges were planned, promising a rich sharing of knowledge and traditions. As the days passed, the scars of war began to fade. Thalorian cities were rebuilt, now featuring both Thalorian organic designs and human technological enhancements. A joint defense force was established, patrolling the skies and ensuring the security of the planet. In a symbolic gesture of unity, a new monument was erected in the center of Velas, a sculpture depicting a circle of hands from different species, each hand unique yet joined in an unbreakable ring. It stood as a testament to the coalition's diversity and unity. Captain Myrov preparing to leave the Loria, her mission complete but her heart forever linked to the planet and its people. As she boarded the Resolute, a young Thalorian approached her, his eyes bright with unshed tears. "Because you heard our cries," he said, his voice steady with emotion, "we are no longer afraid to speak. You have not only saved us but have given us a voice. Thank you." Captain Myrov smiled, touched by his words. "It was our honor," she replied. "Keep your voice strong, and never forget the power of unity." With that, the Resolute lifted off from Meloria, leaving behind a planet reborn in hope and courage, a beacon of what can be achieved when different peoples come together to stand against darkness and despair.